Have you ever walked into a room only to feel that sudden weight on your chest? It's as if the air itself has changed and you can't quite figure out why. But then you realize it's the people around you. The conversation turns sour and you start to feel drained, your energy slowly being sucked out of you piece by piece. Toxic people are everywhere. They lurk in your workplace, among friends, sometimes even in your family. They're the ones who always seem to have something negative to say, always criticizing, always stirring up trouble. No matter how hard you try to stay calm, they manage to get under your skin. It's frustrating, isn't it? You try to be kind, you try to be patient, but it never seems to be enough. The more you give, the more they take. The more you try to help, the more they pull you into their whirlwind of negativity. You feel powerless. You feel trapped. But what if I told you there's a way out? What if there was a tool, an ancient secret that could help you break free from this emotional trap, no matter how toxic the people around you might be? Imagine being able to stay calm, composed, and in control, even when everything around you seems chaotic and draining. This tool is called Stoicism, an ancient philosophy that teaches us how to master our own emotions. And today, I'm going to show you 10 Stoic strategies that will help you deal with toxic people, protect your emotional energy, and build resilience so you can finally take control of your peace. The Stoics were not philosophers who simply sat around thinking about life. They were warriors, leaders, and thinkers who faced some of the toughest situations you can imagine: war, political intrigue, personal loss, and they found ways to thrive, not by fighting the world around them, but by mastering their inner world. It's not easy, I know. It's difficult to deal with people who don't seem to care about your peace, your feelings, or your well-being. But the truth is, the key to handling toxic people lies not in changing them, but in changing yourself, in changing how you react to them. It's not about being perfect or even about being always calm, but it's about becoming resilient, about learning to be untouched by the negativity of others. It's about realizing that your peace is yours to protect. So, if you're tired of feeling drained after interactions with toxic people, or if you've ever wished you could simply walk away unaffected, then this video is for you. By the end of it, you'll have a toolbox full of Stoic wisdom that will help you face toxic people with grace, compassion, and strength. You might be wondering, what exactly are these Stoic strategies? How can they help me in the real world with real people? And I'm glad you asked, because these 10 strategies are not just ideas. They are practical tools that you can apply to your daily life. They'll help you become emotionally resilient, even in the most challenging situations. But here's the thing. This is not some quick fix, just think positive kind of advice. This is about real emotional strength, the kind that comes from understanding yourself and what truly matters to you. The Stoics didn't shy away from hardship, and neither should we. They faced life head-on, and by doing so, they built unshakable emotional resilience. You can do the same. I know it's tempting to try to fix toxic people, to change their behavior. But here's a key lesson from Stoicism. You can't control other people. The only thing you can control is how you respond to them. And with the Stoic strategies I'll share with you today, you'll be able to respond in a way that protects your peace and helps you stay grounded. Now, before we dive into these 10 strategies, let me ask you a question. Have you ever tried to confront a toxic person only to feel like you're getting nowhere? You might even end up feeling worse after the conversation. And yet, we keep trying to fix things, keep trying to change them. The problem is, we're focused on things that are beyond our control. The Stoics teach us that the only way to find real peace is to focus on what we can control: our thoughts, our reactions, our choices. By the end of this video, you'll learn how to do exactly that. You'll learn to respond to negativity with grace, to protect your emotional energy, and to stop letting toxic people control how you feel. And here's the best part. As you put these Stoic principles into practice, you'll start to see a huge shift in your life. You'll find that toxic people will have less power over you. You'll stop feeling drained, and instead, you'll feel empowered, because you'll realize that their negativity no longer affects you. You'll have learned how to guard your peace like a Stoic warrior, strong, steady, and unmovable. By the end of this video, you'll have the tools you need to deal with toxic people effectively and compassionately. So, grab a seat, take a deep breath, and get ready to start your journey toward emotional resilience. Before we jump into the first strategy, I'd love for you to take a second to think about one person in your life who might be toxic. Maybe it's a colleague who never stops complaining. Maybe it's a family member who constantly brings drama. Whoever it is, hold them in your mind for just a moment, because the first strategy we'll talk about will help you recognize their behavior and take the first steps toward protecting your peace. Picture this. Your mind is a fortress. Tall walls of stone rise around you, guarding your peace and your energy. Inside this fortress, you feel safe, calm, and protected. Nothing can touch you here. But outside, in the world, there are people trying to breach your walls, break through your defenses, and steal your peace. Toxic people are like these invaders. They come into your life, often without warning, bringing negativity, criticism, and manipulation. And before you know it, you find yourself feeling drained, upset, or worse, completely overwhelmed. The good news is, you don't have to let them in. Just like a fortress has gates that can be closed, you have the ability to protect your emotional well-being. In this part of the video, I'm going to show you how to recognize these toxic individuals and how to build defenses against them so that you can keep your inner peace intact. Strategy 1. Identifying the toxic threat. To begin, you need to recognize the toxic people in your life. Now, this might sound simple, but it's not always easy. Toxic people don't always wear a warning sign. Sometimes they seem like regular friends, family, or co-workers, but their behavior can leave you feeling emotionally drained, frustrated, or even angry. Think back for a moment. Have you ever been in a situation where you walked away from someone and felt exhausted, not physically, but emotionally? Like the moment they spoke to you, they took something away from you? This is often the first sign that you're dealing with a toxic person. The Stoics, ancient philosophers who understood the power of emotional resilience, taught us that it's not the things that happen to you, but how you react to them that matter. And this is where it all starts. The first line of defense against toxic people is awareness. You have to be able to spot the signs. What are the warning signs that someone is trying to breach your emotional fortress? Some common traits of toxic people include constant criticism. They never have anything positive to say. Every word that leaves their mouth feels like a judgment, a criticism, or an attempt to bring you down. Imagine a friend who always finds something wrong with your choices. It could be your career, your relationships, or even something as simple as your hobbies. You start to wonder if there's anything you can do that will ever be good enough. Manipulation. Toxic people often use others for their benefit. They may guilt trip you, make you feel responsible for their problems, or even play on your emotions to get what they want. Think about a time when someone made you feel guilty just for saying no. They used your kindness against you, manipulated you into doing something you didn't want to do. Energy drain. Another major indicator is how you feel after being around them. Do you feel exhausted, like they've sucked the life out of you? We all know that feeling. You've spent hours talking to someone only to walk away and feel like you run a marathon, even though you were sitting the whole time. These are just a few signs, but they can be enough to help you spot when someone's toxicity is starting to wear you down. So, the first Stoic lesson here is to recognize the toxic threat. By learning to identify toxic behaviors and understanding the impact they have on your mental and emotional well-being, you're already one step closer to protecting your inner peace. Strategy 2. Fortifying your walls. Now that you can recognize the toxic people around you, the next step is to fortify your defenses, to build strong emotional boundaries. Imagine for a moment that you are a ruler, and your kingdom is your mind, your emotions, and your inner peace. As a ruler, you must set clear boundaries. You wouldn't allow just anyone to walk into your kingdom without permission, would you? In the same way, you must set boundaries with toxic people to keep them from invading your personal space, both mentally and emotionally. The Stoics understood the importance of boundaries. They were able to maintain control over their emotions, their actions, and their thoughts, no matter what chaos was happening around them, and you can do the same. Boundaries are the lines in the sand that define what behavior you will accept and what you will not. Toxic people test your boundaries all the time. They may push your limits with their constant negativity, their attempts to manipulate you, or their efforts to drag you into their emotional storms. But here's the key. You get to decide what crosses the line. How to set boundaries. So how do you set these boundaries? The first step is to know what's unacceptable to you. What are the things that make you feel upset or drained? Is it a colleague who constantly complains? A family member who never respects your time? A friend who always makes everything about themselves? Once you've identified these behaviors, you can begin to create clear and firm boundaries. But remember, this isn't about being rude or cutting people off. It's about protecting yourself. Practical tip: be clear and assertive. A Stoic emperor knows that the key to ruling wisely is to communicate with clarity and authority. And so should you. When someone crosses your boundaries, you need to be assertive, not aggressive. Stoicism teaches us that being assertive is not about being rude or confrontational, but about being clear and direct. For example, if a toxic person is constantly criticizing you, instead of getting defensive or angry, you can calmly say, "I hear what you're saying, but I don't appreciate the way you're speaking to me. I would prefer if we could have a more respectful conversation." It's important that you don't just say it once and hope it works. Consistency is key. Just like a wall that's only partially built can be easily broken down, a boundary that's not reinforced will eventually be violated again. But sometimes Even after we set clear boundaries, toxic people might continue to test them. In these moments, it's crucial to stay firm. Don't back down or let them push you into accepting behavior that harms you. And if they don't respect your boundaries, sometimes the best way to protect your peace is to walk away. Imagine you're a Stoic ruler. Your emotional well-being is your kingdom, and you don't let anyone destroy it. You know when to stand your ground and when to withdraw. And in doing so, you maintain control over your inner world, no matter how others behave. Imagine you're walking on a beach. The waves crash at your feet, the salty air fills your lungs, and for a moment, everything feels still. The noise of the world fades away. You're in your own space, surrounded by nothing but peace. But then, out of nowhere, a storm rolls in. The wind picks up, the waves grow larger, and soon the calm beach is a wild, chaotic scene. But you're still there, standing on that shore, unmoved. The storm rages around you, but you remain unshaken. Why? Because you've learned to find your calm, no matter what's happening around you. Toxic people are like that storm. They bring chaos, negativity, and drama into your life. They try to pull you into their whirlwind of emotions to make you feel upset or angry, just like the crashing waves. But here's the Stoic secret. You don't have to react to the storm. You don't have to be swept away by the waves. You can stand firm, just like the calm center of the storm. In this part of the video, we're going to talk about how you can stay calm and composed, how to handle toxic people without letting them control your emotions. The Stoics knew that emotional control was the key to resilience. And now you're going to learn their techniques to remain unaffected by the negativity around you. Strategy 3. The Stoic gaze. Detach emotionally. The first key to mastering your emotions when dealing with toxic people is something the Stoics called the Stoic gaze. Imagine it as your lens, a way of seeing the world without getting emotionally caught up in it. When you develop this Stoic gaze, you begin to see situations from a calm distance rather than getting swept up in them. It's like watching a movie. You're aware of the emotions and the drama happening on screen, but you're not part of the story. The same is true when you interact with toxic people. They might act out, criticize, or try to pull you into their negativity. But if you've developed a Stoic gaze, you don't get emotionally entangled with them. Let's break this down. The Stoic approach. View the situation objectively. The Stoics believe that we don't have to react to everything that happens around us. What matters is how we interpret those events. When a toxic person criticizes you, they're trying to push you into a negative emotional state. They might want to see you angry, upset, or defensive. But here's the truth. Their criticism doesn't control you. Take a moment and think back to a situation where someone said something that upset you. How did you react? Did you get defensive? Did you feel your anger rising? Or did you step back, take a deep breath, and observe the situation calmly? This is what the Stoics meant by the Stoic gaze. It's about seeing things objectively. Instead of reacting impulsively, you take a step back and observe the situation without letting your emotions control you. How to practice the Stoic gaze. To practice the Stoic gaze, you need to train yourself to detach emotionally from the situation. Here's how you can do that. 1. Pause and breathe. When a toxic person says something that triggers you, take a moment to breathe. Instead of reacting immediately, pause and allow yourself time to think. Imagine you're standing still in the middle of the storm, letting the waves crash around you, but you remain unaffected. 2. Assess the situation objectively. Ask yourself, what's really happening here? Is this person criticizing you because of their own issues? Are they projecting their unhappiness onto you? Understand that their behavior reflects their own struggles, not your worth. 3. Separate your emotions. It can be hard to do, but try to disconnect your emotions from the situation. Think of yourself as a witness to their actions. You're observing, but not participating. This is the first step in becoming emotionally resilient. When you stop reacting emotionally to toxic people, their power over you starts to fade. You start to see their negativity for what it is, just a storm that passes through. Strategy 4. Silence, the most powerful response. The second strategy the Stoics taught is the power of silence. Now, this doesn't mean shutting down or ignoring everything around you. It's about responding with calmness and not feeding into the drama. Picture this. You're having a conversation with someone who constantly criticizes you, insults you, or tries to make you feel bad. What happens if you simply stop reacting? What if, instead of arguing, defending, or getting upset, you simply remain quiet? It's like removing yourself from the game entirely. You stop playing their game of emotional manipulation and control. You don't give them the response they're looking for. Instead of fighting or arguing, you choose stillness. Let me explain how this works. The power of non-reaction. Toxic people want one thing from you: a reaction. They want to see you angry, frustrated, or defensive. The more they provoke you, the more they feel they have power over you. But the Stoics knew that true strength is found in emotional mastery, the ability to choose how you respond to everything that happens. Silence is one of the most powerful tools in your Stoic arsenal. When someone insults you, makes a negative comment, or tries to manipulate you, the best response may not be to say anything at all. How to use silence effectively. 1. Stay calm. When a toxic person says something hurtful or tries to drag you into their negativity, stay calm. Take a deep breath and remain composed. Remember, you're not obligated to react to every negative comment. 2. Respond with nothing. Sometimes the best response is no response. When a toxic person tries to argue or criticize, simply say, "I don't think we need to continue this conversation." Or simply say, "I hear you," and leave it at that. 3. Walk away. If the conversation escalates, it's okay to walk away. "I think we should talk later." Or if it's not worth engaging, just leave the situation. The Stoics believed that when we engage with negativity, we give it power. Don't give them that power. The benefit of silence. Silence disarms toxic people. It disrupts their game. Instead of reacting with anger or frustration, you remain calm, unaffected, and in control. And this, my friend, is the key to maintaining your emotional resilience. Think about it. The next time a toxic person tries to provoke you, instead of getting angry or upset, you just remain quiet. You don't feed into the drama. And soon they'll realize that they can't control your emotions anymore. The Stoics taught us that silence is strength. By responding with silence, you are showing them that their negativity has no power over you. You are in control, and you choose to remain unaffected by their emotional turmoil. And this is how you can stay peaceful, no matter what chaos surrounds you. Have you ever felt like someone was trying to push your buttons on purpose? Maybe they made a sharp remark, just waiting to see if you'd take the bait. They were hoping you'd get angry, defensive, or upset, so they could watch your emotions unravel. It's as if they were throwing a line into the water, waiting for you to bite. And when you do, you're hooked. Toxic people love to bait others into emotional reactions. It's how they gain control, how they keep the cycle of negativity going. The truth is, they want your energy. They want to provoke you into reacting so they can feed off your emotions. But here's the Stoic secret. Don't bite. In this part of the video, we're going to talk about how to avoid taking the bait and, in turn, stop toxic people from controlling your emotions. The Stoics had a powerful way of dealing with this. They practiced indifference. They learned how to detach themselves emotionally, no matter how much someone tried to pull them in. Just like a fisherman who throws out bait hoping for a catch, toxic people try to provoke you into reacting. And the best way to handle this? Don't fall for it. Let's dive deeper into this idea. Strategy 5. Don't take the bait. Recognizing the manipulation. When toxic people try to bait you, they're not just trying to have a conversation. No, they're fishing for a reaction. Whether it's a sarcastic comment, an insult, or a guilt trip, they want to see you get upset, defensive, or angry. And the moment you respond emotionally, they've won. Think back to a time when someone tried to pull you into their drama. Maybe it was a coworker who made a snide remark about your work, or a friend who, out of nowhere, criticized you just to get a rise out of you. What did you do? Did you react? Did you defend yourself? That's exactly what they wanted. They threw out the bait and you took it. Now imagine if you hadn't. What if, instead of getting pulled into the drama, you stayed calm, neutral, and unaffected? The Stoics taught us to be indifferent to external provocations. They believed that emotions are within our control, and it's up to us to decide how we react to others. Toxic people try to manipulate your emotions by pulling you into their emotional drama. The key to stopping them is to recognize when they're trying to bait you and to refuse to take the bait. How to avoid taking the bait? 1. Recognize the signs. The first step is simply recognizing when someone is trying to provoke you. They may use sarcastic comments, insults, guilt trips, or even threats to try to get a reaction. Example, if a friend says, "You always do things your way, don't you?" That's a baited comment. It's designed to make you feel guilty or defensive. 2. Pause before you respond. When you recognize the bait, pause. Take a deep breath. Don't respond immediately. Think about how you want to react. Is it worth getting emotional over? You don't owe anyone an emotional response, especially not someone trying to manipulate you. 3. Stay neutral and detached. Once you've paused, respond with neutrality. Don't give them the emotional reaction they're looking for. Example, if someone criticizes you, instead of defending yourself, you can simply say, "That's your perspective." If they continue to push, you can say, "I don't think this conversation is helpful," and walk away. 4. Don't feed the drama. Toxic people thrive on drama. The more you engage with their negativity, the stronger they get. Think of their words as empty noise. You don't need to add fuel to the fire. Silence is often the most powerful weapon you have against someone trying to manipulate you. By not taking the bait, you stop toxic people from controlling your emotions. You regain your power, and they lose theirs. You can choose to remain calm, unaffected, and centered, no matter how much they try to provoke you. But let's take this a step further. Even if you don't react to their bait, toxic people often push even harder. And in these moments, it's crucial to set boundaries. Think about it this way. Boundaries are like the walls of your fortress. They define what's acceptable and what isn't. When you clearly establish your boundaries, you protect your emotional space. Toxic people don't have the right to invade your peace, and you must make it clear that their behavior is unacceptable. Now you might be thinking, but what if they don't respect my boundaries? What if they continue to push? That's where Stoic strength comes in. Strategy 6. Assert your boundaries, the Stoic approach to protection. The Stoics were masters of self-control, and one of the most important aspects of self-control is asserting your boundaries. When you clearly communicate your boundaries, you set the foundation for healthier relationships, and you protect your emotional energy from toxic influences. Boundaries aren't about being rude or cold. They're about respecting yourself and ensuring that others respect you too. Toxic people will often push against your boundaries, test them, and try to get away with behavior that makes you uncomfortable. But the Stoics teach us that we can stand firm without being aggressive. How to assert your boundaries. 1. Know what's unacceptable to you. The first step to setting boundaries is to know what you will and won't tolerate. Is it someone constantly criticizing you? A coworker who always unloads their problems on you? A friend who demands your attention at the expense of your own well-being? Once you've identified what's not acceptable, you can clearly communicate that to the other person. 2. Communicate clearly and directly. When someone crosses a boundary, you need to be clear and direct about it. I need some time for myself right now. I can't engage in this conversation. I feel disrespected when you make comments like that, and I would appreciate it if we could talk about something else. 3. Stay firm but compassionate. When you assert your boundaries, it's important to do so with confidence, but also with compassion. You don't need to be harsh or rude, just firm. Remember, you're not trying to punish them. You're simply protecting your peace. 4. Be consistent. Boundaries are only effective when they're enforced consistently. If a toxic person crosses your boundary, calmly remind them of it. If they continue to ignore it, it may be necessary to limit your interaction with them, or even walk away from the situation. The Stoic perspective on boundaries. The Stoics believed in living with honor and integrity, and part of that was ensuring they surrounded themselves with people who respected their values and their emotional well-being. Setting boundaries is not about being selfish. It's about protecting your peace so you can continue to live in alignment with your values. By asserting your boundaries with confidence, you create a space where toxic behavior has no place. You don't let others control your emotional state, and you take back your power. Imagine once again that your mind is a fortress. You've already built tall, sturdy walls, set clear boundaries, and you've learned how to stay calm in the face of emotional storms. But as time passes, you begin to notice something. Even with all the walls you've built, there are still some cracks, tiny openings where negativity can creep in. Maybe it's a toxic person who keeps trying to push your buttons despite your boundaries. Maybe it's a moment of doubt or insecurity that makes you second-guess your emotional strength. These cracks, while small, can allow toxicity to seep into your fortress. So, How do you stop this? How do you make sure that your peace is unbreakable, that nothing and no one can compromise it? The answer is simple. You reinforce your emotional walls. You fortify your peace by building a strong support system and practicing self-care every day. These are the next 2 Stoic strategies that will help you protect your emotional energy and keep your mind at peace, no matter what's happening around you. Strategy 7. Build your support system. Surround yourself with the right people. The Stoics didn't believe that we should live in isolation. While they valued inner strength and self-sufficiency, they also understood the importance of surrounding themselves with the right kind of people. These were individuals who uplifted them, who shared their values, and who inspired them to be better. Think about the people in your life. Are they lifting you up, or are they dragging you down? Are they supportive when you need it, or do they constantly add to your stress? Toxic people can have a huge impact on your emotional well-being, but so can the people who are truly supportive. The Stoics knew that we're not meant to go through life alone. Our support system is there to remind us of our worth, to guide us, and to help us stay on track when things get tough. In moments of doubt or frustration, it's these people who give us the strength to keep going. How to build your support system. 1. Recognize who lifts you up. The first step is to identify those in your life who are truly supportive. Who makes you feel good about yourself? Who encourages you to be your best self? These are the people you want to keep close. They're the ones who will remind you of your value, who will help you stay grounded, and who will help protect your peace. 2. Surround yourself with positive influence. Make an effort to connect with people who share your values and who support your emotional well-being. Think about your close friends, family members, mentors, or colleagues who bring positive energy into your life. They help you see life in a positive light, especially when dealing with negativity from toxic individuals. 3. Reach out when you need help. Don't be afraid to lean on your support system when things get tough. Sometimes just talking to someone who listens can make all the difference. Stoicism teaches us not to rely on others for happiness, but that doesn't mean we shouldn't have a strong network of support. Everyone needs a safe space where they can share their thoughts and feelings without fear of judgment. 4. Be a support to others. Building a strong support system isn't just about what you get from others, it's also about what you give. Be a positive influence in the lives of those who support you. Help others when they need it. Be a shoulder to lean on, offer encouragement, and show gratitude to those who stand by you. The more you give, the more you strengthen the connections that protect your peace. The Stoic importance of positive influence. The Stoics believed in the power of virtue and community. They understood that we are stronger together. By surrounding yourself with people who embody the values you cherish, you create a buffer against the negativity of toxic people. This support system becomes a powerful shield for your emotional resilience. They remind you of your worth. They give you strength when you're feeling weak, and they help you stay grounded no matter how much chaos surrounds you. Strategy 8. Prioritize self-care, recharging your emotional battery. But even with a strong support system, there's one more thing you need to do to protect your peace. Take care of yourself. Think of your emotional energy as a battery. When you give and give to others, whether it's dealing with toxic people, helping friends, or facing the challenges of life, you can start to feel drained. If you don't take time to recharge, you'll run out of energy, and that's when things start to fall apart. Self-care is not just about physical rest. It's about recharging your emotional batteries. Just like a warrior needs to rest and sharpen their sword, you need to take time to nurture yourself. When you practice self-care, you're ensuring that you have the emotional strength to face whatever comes your way. You're filling up your emotional tank so you can deal with negativity without burning out. How to practice self-care? 1. Make time for yourself. Life gets busy, and it's easy to forget about yourself when you're focused on others. But it's important to make time for your own needs. This could be as simple as taking a walk outside, reading a book, meditating, or practicing deep breathing. The key is to make space in your life to rest and recharge. 2. Engage in activities you enjoy. Self-care is about doing what makes you feel good. Whether it's painting, playing an instrument, cooking, or anything else that brings you joy, make time for it. These activities help take your mind off the negativity around you, and they give you something positive to focus on. They remind you of your passions, your strengths, and the things that make life worth living. 3. Physical health matters. Your mind and body are connected, and when you take care of your body, your emotional well-being improves. Get enough sleep, eat nourishing food, and exercise regularly. These simple habits help to keep your energy levels up and your mind clear. Practice mindfulness. One of the most effective ways to recharge emotionally is through mindfulness. Take a moment each day to quiet your mind, focusing on your breathing and the present moment. This can help you reset and let go of the stress that toxic people try to put on you. The Stoic view on self-care. The Stoics weren't just focused on external achievements. They also understood the importance of taking care of their internal world. They knew that mental and emotional strength required constant attention and care. By prioritizing self-care, you ensure that your mind remains sharp, your emotions stay balanced, and your spirit remains resilient. You make sure that you have the strength to face life's challenges without letting toxic people wear you down. Picture yourself carrying a heavy backpack. It's full of stones, each one representing the anger, frustration, and negativity you've carried because of toxic people in your life. At first, it's just a small weight, a few stones here and there, but over time, the bag gets heavier and heavier. It becomes harder to walk, harder to move. You feel weighed down, exhausted by the burden of emotions that don't belong to you. The anger from past arguments, the resentment from unfair treatment, all piling up inside that bag. But here's the thing, you don't have to carry that weight any longer. What if I told you that the key to truly releasing toxic people's influence over your life is to let go of the emotional baggage you've been holding on to? The Stoics understood that holding on to negative emotions like anger and resentment only harms you, not the person who hurt you. In this section, I'm going to show you how to let go of that baggage and free yourself from the emotional weight of toxic people. Because the truth is, when you hold on to negative feelings, you give the toxic person power over your emotions. But when you let go, you take that power back. Let's explore how to release that emotional baggage and find your peace again. Strategy 9. Remember, it's not about you, it's about them. One of the hardest things to do when dealing with toxic people is not taking their behavior personally. After all, they're attacking you, aren't they? They're criticizing you, making you feel unworthy, undermining your happiness. It feels like they're targeting you directly, and it's easy to believe that their negativity says something about you. But here's where Stoicism can help us. The Stoics believed in something called prosoche, which means attention or awareness. They taught that when toxic people lash out, it's often not about you at all. It's about them, their inner struggles, their insecurities, their fears. Toxic people project their negativity onto others because they are unhappy with themselves. It's their way of coping with their own internal pain. Imagine for a moment that you are standing outside a storm, watching it rage, feeling the wind blow, the rain pour down. But you know that the storm is not about you. The storm is just the storm. It doesn't define you. In the same way, when a toxic person hurls insults or negative comments your way, remember, their negativity is a reflection of their inner turmoil, not a reflection of your worth. How to see it from their perspective. 1. Shift your focus. When someone says something hurtful, remind yourself, this is about them, not me. The Stoics believe that our reactions are our responsibility. So instead of reacting with anger, take a step back and realize that the other person's actions come from their own unresolved issues. 2. Don't internalize their words. What they say about you isn't who you are. If they insult you, criticize you, or try to manipulate you, remember that their words are a projection of their own emotional state. Imagine standing in the middle of a crowded room and all the negativity being thrown at you is just noise in the background. Let it pass over you without letting it sink in. 3. Empathy. Over anger. Try to approach toxic people with empathy, not anger. You don't have to agree with their actions, but understanding that they are likely struggling with their own inner demons can help you disengage emotionally. They're angry because they feel helpless. They criticize because they feel insecure. This isn't about me. When you adopt this mindset, you'll realize that their negativity doesn't have the power to define you. You stop reacting emotionally and begin to see their behavior as a reflection of their own battles, rather than an attack on who you are. Strategy 10. Forgive yourself, letting go of guilt and resentment. Now let's talk about the final step in releasing the toxic influence from your life. Forgiveness. This might sound counterintuitive. After all, why should you forgive someone who has treated you poorly? But the Stoics understood that forgiveness is not about letting the other person off the hook. It's about freeing yourself from the chains of anger, resentment, and regret. Think about that heavy backpack again. Every time you hold on to anger, resentment, or guilt, you add another stone to your bag. And as the bag gets heavier, it becomes harder to move forward. It might even begin to consume your thoughts, your energy, and your well-being. But forgiveness allows you to set down the backpack and walk away from the emotional weight. Forgiveness isn't about excusing the toxic person's behavior. It's about understanding that you can't change what's happened. You can't undo the harm they've done, but you can choose to stop carrying that hurt with you. When you forgive yourself for holding on to those feelings, you open up space for healing, peace, and emotional freedom. How to forgive yourself. 1. Acknowledge the hurt. The first step to forgiveness is acknowledging the pain that toxic people have caused you. It's okay to feel hurt, betrayed, or upset. But don't let those emotions control you. Recognize them, but don't hold on to them. 2. Release the need for revenge. Often, we hold on to anger because we want justice. We want the toxic person to pay for what they've done. But the Stoics teach us that seeking revenge only continues the cycle of negativity. Instead of focusing on punishing them, focus on healing yourself. 3. Make peace with the past. You can't change the past, but you can choose how you respond to it. Let go of the need to change what has already happened. By forgiving yourself and releasing the anger, you allow yourself to move forward. 4. Practice self-compassion. Be kind to yourself. It's easy to blame ourselves for being affected by toxic people, but remember, their behavior is their choice, not yours. You don't have to carry the burden of their actions. I forgive myself for holding on to their negativity. I choose to release it and move forward with peace. The power of forgiveness and letting go. Forgiveness is a powerful tool in the Stoic arsenal. The Stoics understood that holding on to negative emotions only weakens you. When you forgive, you take back your power and create space for inner peace. You free yourself from the emotional chains that tie you to toxic people and begin to reclaim your energy, your joy, and your peace. When you let go of guilt and resentment, you finally take control of your emotional well-being. You no longer allow toxic people to control how you feel. Instead, you become the master of your emotions, capable of facing whatever life throws your way with calmness and resilience. Imagine for a moment, standing at the top of a mountain. You've just climbed to the peak, and you look around. The view is breathtaking. Clear skies, a vast horizon, and a deep sense of accomplishment. But most importantly, you feel a profound sense of peace. The climb wasn't easy, but now that you've reached the top, you realize that you're no longer weighed down by the burden of toxic people or negative emotions. You're free. This journey to the top of your emotional resilience is just like what you've learned throughout this video. It wasn't easy. There were challenges along the way. You had to build new habits, shift your mindset, and face your emotional triggers head on. But you did it. You now have a fortress of inner peace that will withstand the storms of toxic people, negativity, and emotional turmoil. By applying the 10 Stoic strategies we've discussed today, you've already started your transformation into a person who is unshakable. Someone who can face toxic people with grace, emotional control, and resilience. The path to emotional resilience. The Stoic journey doesn't end here. These 10 strategies are just the beginning of a new way of living, a way where you don't react emotionally to the chaos around you, a way where you protect your peace no matter what toxic people may try to throw your way. You've learned how to recognize toxic behavior, set clear boundaries, detach emotionally from negative people, and forgive yourself for the times you've been affected by their actions. You've learned how to create a strong support system and practice self-care to ensure that your emotional energy is always replenished. But it's up to you to continue this path. Every day, you will need to choose to live by these Stoic principles. Every day, you will need to choose peace over drama, clarity over confusion, and resilience over weakness. The power is in your hands. You are now the guardian of your own peace. No toxic person, no negative comment, and no emotional manipulation can touch you unless you let it. Remember, your emotions are yours to control, and how you respond to life's challenges is entirely up to you. The Stoic mindset teaches us that we cannot control what happens to us, but we can always control how we choose to respond. By consistently practicing these Stoic strategies, you will become a person who can stand tall, calm, and unshaken, no matter the circumstances. The toxic people who once caused you pain will no longer have the power to upset you. You'll find yourself able to move through life with an unshakable peace. And when the next storm of negativity comes your way, you'll know how to weather it with wisdom and grace. Now, you might be wondering, how do I continue applying these strategies in my life? The answer is simple. Start small and practice consistently. The Stoics didn't become resilient overnight. They built their emotional strength every day, choosing to apply their principles in both small and large situations. Whether it's dealing with a difficult coworker or handling criticism from a friend, you have the tools you need to face these challenges calmly and effectively. Here are a few practical steps you can take right now to implement these Stoic strategies in your life. 1. Practice self-awareness. Start by recognizing the toxic people around you and how they affect you. Make a conscious decision to detach emotionally when their negativity starts to impact your peace. 2. Set boundaries. Today, if there's a toxic person in your life who constantly oversteps your boundaries, have that conversation today. Be clear, firm, and compassionate about what behaviors you will and won't tolerate. 3. Lean on your support system. Surround yourself with people who inspire you to be your best self. Seek out friends, family, or communities that uplift you and protect your emotional well-being. 4. Prioritize your self-care. Take a moment each day to recharge. Whether it's through meditation, a walk in nature, or a creative hobby, make time for things that bring you joy and peace. 5. Let go of resentment. Think about one person or situation in your life that you're still holding on to anger or frustration with. Take a moment to forgive them and yourself for carrying that emotional baggage. Release it so you can move forward with peace. If you found this video helpful, subscribe to the channel for more insights on how to develop mental resilience and live a peaceful, Stoic life. The journey to emotional freedom doesn't end here. We'll continue to explore more Stoic wisdom and practical strategies that will help you thrive in today's world, no matter the challenges you face. So, join our Pure Stoic Life community, and let's walk this path together. Share your experiences, your challenges, and your wins with us in the comments below. We're here to support each other in becoming more resilient, more peaceful, and more in control of our emotions. Remember, the true power is in your hands. You don't have to let toxic people control your peace anymore. By applying the Stoic strategies you've learned today, you can face any challenge, weather any storm, and rise above negativity with unwavering strength. You are stronger than you think. Your inner peace is worth protecting, and with the Stoic wisdom in your hands, you're ready to navigate life's toughest situations with calmness, grace, and emotional resilience. Thank you for watching, and remember, a life free from the influence of toxic people is a life worth living. Stay strong, stay resilient, and stay stoic.